At 60, no one says it out loud, but almost everyone knows when blood stops flowing to the right places, a man's self-respect starts flowing in reverse. I heard that sentence straight from the mouth of one of my patients, David, 67 years old, living in Austin, Texas. He didn't say it the moment he walked into my office. That man sat across from me with tired eyes and clenched hands, as if holding tightly to something that remained from his golden years. "I'm not myself anymore, Doc," he said. "My body doesn't respond the way it used to. I want to be close to my wife, but when the moment comes, my body just abandons me." I've seen hundreds, even thousands of men like David over the past 20 years. Strong American men who built families, built careers, fought in wars or in life. And then, as age crept in, suddenly became strangers inside their own bodies. And the sad part is, most of them choose silence. Silence out of shame. Silence because they think it's normal. Silence because they believe that stuff is for younger guys. But let me tell you this, if you're watching this video and feel an emptiness inside, not because of your age, but because of that loss of control in the place that once symbolized your masculinity, then stay with me for a few minutes. Because today I'm going to share something that most American men don't even know. The truth about blood, about the flow of life, and why simply changing the way you eat can bring back the vitality you thought was long gone. There's a big mistake I've seen all too often, even among professionals in the field. People assume that after 60, everything going downhill is inevitable. Fatigue, low libido, erectile dysfunction, all get stamped with the label, "because you're old." Not wrong, but not the whole picture. Because the truth is, over 70% of the performance issues I see in men after 60 don't come from age, but from poor blood circulation. Imagine this. If you had an amazing machine, powerful, durable, but it wasn't getting enough fuel to the parts that need it, what happens? That machine can't run. And your body, that part of your body, is the same. If blood isn't flowing properly to the lower region, then no matter how strong your desire is, no matter how much your mind wants it, your body just won't cooperate. The good news is, we can improve blood circulation naturally, without pills, without hormone shots, just by adjusting your diet with 3 very common foods. I applied this exact principle for my patient David. Just 3 weeks later, with no pills at all, he came back to my office, sat across from me, smiled and said, "Doc, I feel younger. Not because I'm stronger, but because I feel like myself again." In this video, I, Dr. Authority, will show you 3 kinds of food you can find in any grocery store across America, how they directly impact your circulatory system, especially in male sexual health, and how to awaken your energy, performance, and masculine power. Whether you're 60, 65, or even 70, don't take your eyes off the screen, because one small change today could be the turning point for the rest of your life. When turning 60, many American men begin to feel that something inside them starts to slow down. Not just their steps or their memory, but the flow of blood, the flow of life. And it doesn't happen suddenly. It's silent, subtle. It begins with the smallest signs, like cold hands and feet, shallow sleep, lack of vitality, and eventually leads to something most men don't want to say out loud: losing control in the bedroom. As a doctor who's worked more than 20 years in the U.S. healthcare system, I want to tell you this. Declining blood circulation after age 60 is not inevitable. It's the result of multiple accumulated factors, and most of them can be improved. 1. Blood vessels lose elasticity. After 60, blood vessel walls begin to age, losing their natural flexibility. When vessels are no longer elastic enough, blood can't flow strongly to peripheral areas, especially the genital region, where a surge of blood is needed to create an erection. That's why so many men complain, "I still feel desire, but my body doesn't respond." In truth, it's not the brain or emotions that are the problem. It's that blood can't get there in time. 2. Decline in nitric oxide, the key that opens blood vessels. Nitric oxide, NO, is a natural compound the body produces. It helps dilate blood vessels, allowing smoother blood flow. But after 60, the body's ability to produce NO drops significantly, especially if the person has a poor diet, sedentary lifestyle, or high blood pressure. Without enough nitric oxide, the vessels in the private area constrict, blocking blood from reaching its target, and climax becomes a disappointing struggle. 3. High cholesterol, diabetes, and sedentary habits. Most Americans over 60 face at least one of these three issues. Bad cholesterol, LDL, builds up and causes atherosclerosis. High blood sugar damages tiny capillaries, especially the microvessels in the male genital area. A sedentary lifestyle, too much sitting, not enough walking, slows blood flow, making it hard to pump blood where it's needed. All of this contributes to slower blood circulation, not just in your vessels, but in your quality of life. 4. Lower testosterone, but it's not a death sentence. After 60, natural testosterone levels drop about 1 to 2% per year. This hormone doesn't just impact desire, it helps maintain muscle mass, heart rhythm, metabolism, and blood flow. The good news is we can absolutely reactivate natural testosterone production through food, exercise, and quality sleep, without relying on risky hormone replacement therapies. I want you to remember one thing. Declining circulation after 60 doesn't mean your body is expired. It means your blood system, once smooth like an interstate highway, is now jammed up like rush hour traffic in Los Angeles. And I'm not here just to tell you the why. I'm here to help you find the way back, the way of life, of blood, and of vitality. Right after this, I'll reveal 3 science-backed foods that help reopen blocked pathways and reignite a man's power after 60. When David came back to see me after 3 weeks, he didn't just walk in with a smile. He carried a radiant look in his eyes, something I hadn't seen since our very first appointment. "You know what, Doc?" he said. "I think my blood is really flowing again." Literally. We didn't use any pills, no injections, no testosterone replacement therapy. All he did was change one simple thing: what he put on his plate each day. Throughout my career, I've seen so many older Americans come back to life just by changing their diet. And I'm not talking about extreme or exotic diets. I'm talking about foods that are very familiar, easily found in any grocery store across the U.S., yet carry a powerful impact on circulation, especially in the most sensitive areas. The first food I want to mention is beetroot, a simple, deep red root vegetable, often sitting humbly in the produce section, but packed with massive biological power. Beets are rich in natural nitrates, which once inside the body, convert into nitric oxide, the key compound that dilates blood vessels. And when vessels dilate, blood flows more easily, especially to the genital area, which requires a sharp increase in blood flow during arousal. I always recommend my patients juice beets or add them to salads 2 to 3 times a week. Just 1 8-ounce glass a day can make a noticeable difference. The second food sounds a bit more romantic: pomegranate. Not only visually stunning, pomegranate is a true antioxidant powerhouse, loaded with potent polyphenols that protect blood vessel walls and keep them soft and flexible. But here's what's fascinating. Numerous U.S. studies have shown that pomegranate can naturally boost testosterone and improve erectile function in older men. Many of my patients who consistently drank 4 to 6 ounces of unsweetened pomegranate juice daily for 3 weeks reported feeling not just fired up, but also more confident about approaching their wives. No longer afraid of being abandoned by their own body. And finally, something no one expects: pumpkin seeds. These small, crunchy seeds, often brushed aside on top of breads or salads, are actually one of the richest sources of zinc, an essential mineral for testosterone production, sperm quality, and blood flow enhancement. Most people don't know that just 1 ounce, about 28 grams, of pumpkin seeds a day gives you enough zinc to jumpstart your reproductive system and help it function better. No pills, no hormone therapy, just consistent intake. What do I love most about these 3 foods? It's that they don't just improve blood flow, they give men back the feeling of being in control of their bodies. And you know, for men, especially at this age, control is often the last thing they want to lose. And it's incredible to think that just by adding a few foods to their meals, their entire lives can change. I share this not just as a doctor, but as someone who's witnessed far too many smiles return simply because the blood started flowing where it should. And if you're listening to me right now, believe me, it's never too late to get the blood flowing again. It's never too late to feel like a man. Once more. I once told David, the patient I mentioned earlier, no food is a miracle if your body is still living in hibernation. He looked surprised. I continued, blood can't circulate well if you don't give it a reason to move. It's like expecting a car to go faster while you're pressing the brake. And that's something many men over 60 in America often forget. Lifestyle is the extension of what you eat. What we put in our bodies works best when it's paired with the right habits. Not harsh ones, just consistent and well understood. I always start with the simplest thing, movement. After 60, many people become more sedentary because of joint pain, fatigue, or simply because they no longer feel the need to go out like they used to. But the truth is, movement is the best way to awaken circulation. I don't ask my patients to jog or lift weights. I ask for one thing. Walk 30 minutes a day. No need to be fast. No need to go far. Just be consistent every day, around the yard, the neighborhood, or in a nearby park. I once had another patient, Mr. James, 72 years old, living in Columbus, Ohio. When he came to see me, he had nearly given up hope of being a real husband again. After changing his diet to include the 3 foods I've shared, I said one more thing to him. Every morning before breakfast, take a walk around the block. Don't think, just walk. He nodded, not fully convinced. But a month later, he came back and handed me a card. On it was written, "My wife says I just came back after 10 years away." What's amazing is that walking doesn't just help circulation, it also releases endorphins, improves mood, and reduces stress, one of the biggest enemies of male sexual health. Stress, anxiety, hidden depression, all constrict blood vessels, lower testosterone, and slowly destroy confidence from the inside. I've met many men with erectile dysfunction, not because of medical issues, but because they were afraid. Afraid to fail, afraid of judgment, afraid of disappointing their wives. And that fear was so strong, their bodies shut down. That's why I offer one more piece of advice. Get enough sleep. Sleep isn't just rest. It's the body's time to regenerate hormones, especially testosterone. After 60, sleep often becomes restless, partly due to hormones, partly due to emotional factors. But with the right food, light movement, cutting caffeine after 2 p.m., and turning off electronics before bed, deep sleep can return. And when you sleep deeply, testosterone can be restored, naturally without artificial intervention. I know change isn't easy, especially when someone has lived over 60 years a certain way. But I've also seen many people change, not because they like change, but because they wanted to live the rest of their life to the fullest. They wanted to feel closeness again, connection, pride. They wanted to feel like a man, not just in others' eyes, but in their own heart. I remember once, after a senior health seminar in California, an old man came up and shook my hand. He said, "Doc, your talk was great, but I'm too old to come back now." I smiled, looked him slowly in the eyes. "You know, I have an 80-year-old patient who walks every morning, eats beets, eats pumpkin seeds, drinks pomegranate juice, and is healthier than some 40-year-olds. The important thing isn't how old you are. It's how you still want to live. And I believe if you're still watching this, that means you still want something for yourself. Maybe to feel confident again. Maybe to be in control again. Maybe to feel that blood running through your body like it did when you were young. Believe me, it's not about age. It's not about hospitals. It starts with one decision you make today. If you're ready to add a pomegranate to your breakfast, a handful of pumpkin seeds to your afternoon snack, a glass of beet juice at night, and a daily walk, then I believe something incredible will happen. Not because you'll become younger, but because you'll be living true to yourself and in harmony with the natural flow of life. If you've stayed until the very last minute of this video, I know. You're not just looking for a quick fix, you're looking to find yourself again, and that, for me, means everything. I've always believed that there's no age limit to a man's vitality, only moments when we choose to give up or stand up. And if today you've taken the time to listen to me, a doctor who spent over 2 decades walking alongside older adults across America, then it's not because I speak well, but because deep inside, you still carry the belief, I can change. I hope that from this day forward, every morning you wake up, you'll remember what I've shared. That blood can flow again, that strength can return, and that emotions can come alive again, as long as you take the lead. As long as you don't let age decide how you live. Because truly what defines a man is not his muscles, not his dark hair, not how many years he's lived, but how he keeps walking forward, even after his youthful years have passed. How he still chooses to love, to connect, to share, and to care for himself. I've seen men at 60, 70, even 80 years old, who after just a few small changes were completely transformed. Not into young men again, but into sharper, stronger, more grounded versions of themselves. They're no longer the elderly waiting quietly for their grandchildren, but active men walking, eating well, reading, falling in love again with the wife who stood by their side for decades, as if they've just written a brand new chapter in their lives. And I hope it's not just David or James or the old man I met in California, but you, the one watching this video, will also be part of that journey, part of the change, part of a community of older men who refuse to surrender, a community that lives healthy, lives strong, and lives connected. I want to invite you from today, not just to change for yourself, but for those around you, for your partner, for your children, for your friends and peers. Share this video, invite a friend to walk with you, tell your own story about the journey of reclaiming your strength so you can pass that spark of hope onto someone else. We are not alone. There are millions of men out there silently facing the same challenge. And if we can build a community, a place where older men can speak freely, live honestly, share openly, and uplift one another, then I believe we won't just change one life. We'll change an entire generation. I want to thank you for listening, for having the courage to face what many others are still avoiding, for taking the first step toward reclaiming ownership of your life. And if what I shared resonated with you, hit subscribe, so each week I can keep sending you knowledge, advice, and real-life stories that inspire, not from textbooks, but from real life, from real people, living real journeys, fighting real battles, and reviving themselves, day by day. Let's walk forward together, not in silence, but in brotherhood, in the belief that age may change the body, but strength and spirit, those can be trained every single day. Thank you for walking this path with me. I'm Dr. Authority, and I'll always be here with you through every powerful, hopeful step of your transformation. When a man turns 60, something quietly begins to shift, not loud, not announced, but powerful enough to shake his sense of identity, the feeling of losing his vitality. No longer waking up each morning with a surge of energy, no longer feeling initiative, connection, and at times, no longer feeling confident even in the intimacy of his relationship. But the most important message I want to share, as a doctor with over 20 years of experience working in the US, is this. Age may slow the flow of blood, but it should never extinguish the flow of spirit. Through everything I've shared in this video, the biggest truth I hope to deliver is, we are not powerless. We just need to understand our bodies better and act more wisely. Declining circulation, the loss of physical control, it's not something to be ashamed of. It's a natural part of the human journey. But if we know how to nourish ourselves properly by adding beets, pomegranates, and pumpkin seeds to our daily meals, if we maintain gentle movement, like a 30-minute walk each morning, if we protect our sleep and care for our mental health, then the body can recover, blood will flow again, and a man can once more feel like himself. More importantly, this isn't just a journey of health, it's a journey of reconnection. Reconnection with the self, with a partner, with life. I've seen many men who once seemed to have stepped back, return with renewed energy and faith, simply because they chose not to give up. They chose to change. They chose to live with intention, even at 70, 75, or 80. And that's the greater lesson. We may not control time, but we absolutely can control how we live each day. Every step you take, every mindful meal, every moment in front of the mirror when you tell yourself, I'm still here and I deserve to live fully, that's a victory. I hope this message doesn't end with a video, but becomes something that spreads. Building a community of older adults who live positively, support one another, and feel no shame in facing health challenges, but instead rise together. A community where aging is not the final chapter, but a new one, rich in awareness, connection, and mature strength. And if you are part of this journey, then believe this: the good is still ahead. Your blood still flows. Your strength can return, and the spirit of manhood has no age.